Thank you for logging into Perspective and Convos. I wanted to take a little time today to first welcome you to my channel and also to give you an idea of why I even created this space in the first place. My name is Eunice Curry. I am a licensed professional counselor. I am licensed in both Pennsylvania and Virginia. I hold certifications in anxiety, anger management, trauma, and grief and loss. I have worked as a helping professional for nearly 30 years. I started out working in early childhood education. I transitioned to working with adolescent boys in residential treatment, and I did that for nearly 20 years. I um, I say I had the opportunity, um, and as you get to know me, you'll know why I say this. But I had the opportunity to open my own private practice back in 2017. I started my private practice part time as I continued to work at a treatment facility for adolescents who struggle with mental health issues. I had the privilege and the opportunity to start working full time in my private practice in February of 2022, and so far it's going well, and I'm truly grateful. So, perspective and convos was an idea that I had. I want to say it started in 2020. I had an idea to create a Instagram page where individuals could share their perspective on issues related to mental health, whether it was trauma, grief, loss, whatever, or just how mental health is viewed within society, how mental health is treated in terms of insurance and policy and the media and now the conversation increasing, but still being some confusion as to what mental health is versus what it isn't, and just to advocate for people to actually speak to their mental health challenges, but recognizing that mental health care is like very important, is equally as important excuse me, as your physical health care. And in a lot of ways, that may be where your health, optimal health really starts, is with your mental and emotional health. So I created the page because I wanted to be able to have the conversation about real life issues as they impact or influence the everyday person. And I started out the Instagram page with a few interviews with other mental health providers. One provider that I had an interview with, we talked about trauma, sexual trauma. As a matter of fact, I think that was my first interview in 2020. Then I also had a interview with someone regarding the influence or the intersection of spirituality and religion and mental health, and some of the challenges that people face or struggle with when they want to believe in their higher power and they want to yield to their higher power, but yet need the help of maybe a professional or medication and those type of things. And so I also not only wanted to talk about the problems, but I also wanted to identify what we could do as everyday people to reinforce either your own mental health or your loved one's mental health, but to continue the conversation even in your homes and having real conversations. I also wanted to help people identify what they could do as the everyday person, meaning not the trained professional, to advocate for mental health, or what could they contribute to the cause of expanding the conversation about mental health. So, as you all know, we were in the middle of a pandemic early in 2020. So, I got busy. It was just like, I think for mental health professionals, the work shifted in a way that we were then able to see individuals in person, but also we started doing telehealth, and it just kind of exploded. It expanded, and so I started seeing individuals via telehealth, and it would be people across the state of Pennsylvania or in the middle of the state of Pennsylvania. And so, like, my reach in terms of my day-to-day work had expanded. So I got really busy and decided that, I would put a pause on having the interviews and, expanding my content on Instagram, because I just really didn't have the time. I was busy, and because I was also experiencing the pandemic in real time along with my clients, it was like, okay, you need to also take care of yourself. And what do you need to do to make that happen? So I had to find a balance. And while I'm saying this, I want you to know, as a mental health professional, I am not exempt. Like, I also have to take care of myself. And some days are better than others, just like you. But it's always in the forefront of my mind. So I needed to find a balance, and I couldn't do all of it. So I chose to focus on doing the work, which I, obviously continue to do. And, you know, and here we are now, 3 years later. you know, Things have changed drastically in our country and within the mental health community, the way services are offered, uh, the way insurance companies are even offering plans and coverage for mental health care. And trust me, it's still a whole lot of conversation we can have about that, because although things have changed, they are not where they probably should be. And I can say that because I do this work, every day. So, why I'm choosing to also utilize YouTube to now, like, refocus myself on creating a channel and offering content and having conversation, is because I feel like I've effectively made the transition from being an employee of an agency in mental health and working in my private practice full time in mental health. So now I feel like, now that I'm kind of coasting in that area and things seem to be going well, I have the time that I can offer to sharing content with you, maybe getting to know some of you, through maybe, comments, or, however the connection goes. But just to be able to continue my quest to advocate for quality mental health care, have the conversation, expand the discussion, help people understand what they can contribute to the cause. And, I kind of say, if not now, then when. So I'm actually really excited about this. I will admit that I'm really more of a one-to-one type person, so I enjoy the work that I do with individuals. I'm not really a person who enjoys content creation, because I don't know. I guess I struggle with wanting to always be authentically who I am at all times, and um, and after I've reflected, I was like, just show up as yourself. Like, don't worry about the other stuff. You don't have to perform, because you really believe in these things wholeheartedly. So let that carry you and push you forward. So that's my view, and that's what I plan on doing. Again, I do have a private practice. My private practice is Perspective Counseling for Behavioral Health LLC. I am a sole proprietor, and I'm really grateful about that because being an African American woman, as well as being a middle aged woman, just to be able to say that I've achieved something for myself after all of the hard work that I've put into my my education, training, development, obtaining licenses and certifications. You know, uh, I'm just happy that I've had this opportunity that is really meaningful to me. And I will also say that something that's very important to me is that I be able to show people of color and minorities and women that we can put our mind to it and actually do it. And it may not be easy, but don't give up. Stay the course, and delay doesn't mean denial. Like you can still achieve these goals that you have for yourself. So um, let me think what else I want to say. Okay, so about the channel, the reason why I am excited about this channel because I think I'm finally motivated to create content and make it make sense to the everyday person. And obviously, there are going to be some disclaimers I'm going to have to put out there. So let me just start here that anything that I post to my page, it is not a substitute for therapy. Is not therapy. Is having a conversation and communicating about what the challenges are and maybe come up with some ideas regarding mental health, but it will not ever replace actual therapy. And if you are seeking therapy, you can I'll also give tips on how you can try to find a therapist that's the best fit for you. I'm not necessarily utilizing this platform to advertise for myself, um, because I have avenues in which I do get, my clients, and, I stay, booked and busy, as they say. But yeah, so that's one disclaimer. And that if you ever feel that you are in crisis and you're not able to keep yourself safe, or you have thoughts that you want to harm someone else, I would recommend that you contact your local crisis line or your local 911. So I have to make sure I put that out there. And I probably would do a separate video on that because that's not what this page is for. This page is just to share information and kind of like on an educational um, standpoint, and then also to have conversation, maybe interviews. Maybe I'll have maybe a blog or some things like that. So I just want to be clear on what this is. And so I plan on posting videos as things come up. I'm living in this world just like you. I understand some of the stressors that most of us are going through, whether it's financial, health, or family, personal, romantic relationships, children, those type of things. I feel like in my career, I have worked with people across the lifespan. I mean, from babies as young as 6 weeks old up until, I think my oldest client was probably 90, believe it or not, but 90. And so, again, a resource to have the conversation. So how did I come up with my name Perspective? It was a lot of thought that I put into my business name and also my social media handle, because it's been very important to me to create a space for people to own their truth and to own their worldview. That's very important to me. Like even when I was studying and training in grad school, I always connected with the therapeutic models that were about what did the individual experience, what happened to you, um, how were you harmed, that type of thing, and that I felt like I connected with that so much that I sat and reflected on, what how could we just break that down to something that's relatable to others. And I figured perspective was important because I do care about people's perspective. I care about my perspective, and I like to connect with the people that I work with on how are you seeing the world? What happened? Meeting people where they are, and taking the journey with them, to hopefully figure some things out for themselves, but also, if you believe holistically, then to heal, and whatever that is, and it can vary for each person. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, so I came up with Perspective Counseling for Behavioral Health LLC. So that's the practice name, but most people don't know my practice name probably. They probably just know me as Eunice Curry and just look me up or whatnot. But Perspective and Convos, I think it's just straightforward. I want to hear your perspective. Let's have a conversation about it. Maybe I'll share my perspective. Let's have a conversation about it. So that's how I came up with my IG handle, and essentially, obviously, the reason, excuse me, why I decided to use Perspective and Convos for my YouTube channel as well. So, uh, I think I've covered everything in terms of the why. Like, I guess, the why is to have the conversation, to expand the discussion, to help people become more self aware, to help people in their personal growth journey, to help people determine their healing process, and, you know, and hopefully have fun, So, just a little bit more about who I am. I feel like I'm a very eclectic individual because I have a lot of knowledge from life experience. So the life experience came before the education. So let me be clear about that. I went through a whole lot in my life. And then it was the education, a lot of education. Trust me, when I start paying these student loans back, it's a reminder of how much education I have. And so there's that, but there are other, facets of who I am, like the fact that I love music, and I'm a total hip hop head, which most people are amazed to find that out. Like, I went to go see La Russell almost 2 weeks ago, and when I posted about it, it was like my little nieces and nephews, whether they're my biological nieces or nephews, were like, "Wait a minute, Auntie, I didn't know you knew about La Russell. What? How dare you?" So it was one of those things. But yeah, so definitely in the hip hop, like, hard, and but I also am into gospel. I also am a singer, but if anybody knows me personally, y'all know I love me some Ella Fitzgerald, and I will throw on her music. And I have my little Ella Fitzgerald uh, Barbie doll in my dining area, a collectible. So I love all things Ella Fitzgerald. And when I do sing, because I do go to music school. I just started back in August, and those are usually the types of songs that I gravitate towards because of the meaning behind them, and I study like the background and the culture of the time in which the music was written, and the individual who actually was most famous for singing that type of music. So those are just some little small things. So it could just also be a conversation about how uh, the arts expressive arts and mental health intersect in terms of coping skills and strategies for healing the mind and emotions and that type of thing. So I'm looking forward to whatever comes in terms of creating content for this page. I wanted to take the time today to just say hi, introduce myself. I know several of you have watched videos that I posted already, but I wanted to take my time before I actually sat down, cleared my head, calmed my mind, set aside my anxieties, so I can just talk, just plain and just let you know about myself and why it was important for me to create this page. So again, I say welcome. Thank you for viewing my page. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope that you will continue to visit my page moving forward. And again, I'm Eunice Curry. Welcome to Perspective and Convos. And I'm excited to do this finally. Thank you so much.